So 4 out of 5 brand new salespeople will completely freeze on their very first real ask.
Yeah, it's wild.
Right. And it isn't because they lack talent or, because they aren't confident enough or even because they haven't learned the product. It's actually because an ancient survival reflex is just severely misfiring in a modern office setting.
Oh, totally.
So welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're unpacking the really misunderstood biology and the psychology behind that moment of the ask.
It's such a huge topic.
It really is. And our sources today, we have this really great beginner's guide that's just loaded with behavioral science, brain research, and some incredibly real observations from the field.
Yeah, the field stories are great.
They really ground it. So our mission today is to figure out exactly why asking for a sale or, a raise or even just a small yes feels so uniquely terrifying.
Right.
And how you can build a simple body-based system to override that ancient panic button.
It really is a staggering reality when you just sit with that stat you mentioned.
The 80%.
Yeah, 80% of people hitting a literal wall the moment they have to ask for money or a decision.
I mean, that's almost everyone.
It is.
Oh.
And what's so vital to understand right out of the gate is that this freeze response, it's not a character flaw.
Right.
It's not some clear sign that you just aren't cut out for the job.
Which is what everyone thinks, right? They think, oh, I'm just bad at this.
Exactly. We carry around this immense shame when we freeze in those moments. We assume everyone else is just naturally braver than we are. But what we're really dealing with is thousands of years of human wiring colliding with a modern sales pipeline.
So we're talking about perfectly capable people, like individuals who know their pitch inside and out, people who can chat easily with a client for like 45 minutes straight, but then they suddenly just fall apart when it's time to actually close.
Yeah, they hit that invisible wall.
Let's look at the outward symptoms of this freeze first, because it doesn't always look like someone just staring blankly into a webcam, right?
Yeah, right. It rarely looks like that deer in the headlights panic.
So what does it look like?
Outwardly, it usually disguises itself as extreme helpfulness.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so you might notice your voice suddenly speeding up as you get near the end of your pitch.
Just talking faster and faster.
Exactly. Or you start over-explaining things. You've already made the point, the client is nodding along, you've clearly solved their problem.
But you keep going.
Right. You feel this urge to add just one more feature, one more benefit, some made-up scenario where they might use the product.
It's fear wearing the costume of excellent customer service.
That is exactly what it is.
You walk away from the call thinking, wow, I was so thorough, I really gave them all the details. But if you're being honest with yourself, you were just terrified to stop talking and ask the question.
Yeah, you were hiding behind the features.
It totally reminds me of being on a bad date.
Oh, how so?
Like you just keep talking and talking and telling these super long stories without taking a single breath. Because you know that as long as you hold the floor...
The other person can't end the date.
Exactly. They can't jump in to say, well, I'm going to call it a night.
That is the exact same reflex at play. You are filling the empty space to physically prevent a bad outcome from entering the room. But what's happening inwardly, like beneath the surface, is where the science gets really wild.
Okay, tell me about that.
While you're rambling about software features, your brain is running this lightning-fast, highly sensitive threat check. Researchers who study social judgment have shown that expecting a rejection, like a prospect deciding whether to buy from you, it lights up the exact same brain pathways as actual physical pain.
Wait, really? So a no doesn't just bruise your ego, your brain is actually mapping it, like physical trauma.
It maps it as literal danger.
That's crazy.
Because historically, right, in our ancient past, social rejection meant you were getting cast out of the tribe.
And you can't survive alone.
Exactly. Being cast out meant you were out in the wild. No food, no shelter, real predators. It meant death.
So it was literal survival.
Yes. So your nervous system today, sitting in a nice office chair on a Tuesday afternoon Zoom call,
Yeah.
it literally cannot tell the difference between a prospect saying no to your proposal and a prehistoric tribe turning against you.
Man, that explains so much of the physical reaction, like why your palms sweat, your throat gets tight, your heart rate just spikes, your body's preparing to run away from a tiger before you even get the words out.
Precisely. The brain hasn't updated its software to realize that a lost deal isn't fatal.
It's just a deal.
Right. And behavioral science has a term for how this biology shows up in our daily choices. They call it the ask gap.
The ask gap.
Yeah. It's this deeply baked-in human habit to drastically under-ask in life.
We don't ask for enough.
Exactly. We under-ask for help, we under-ask for raises, and we definitely under-ask for sales.
Because our brain is doing this weird math behind the scenes, right? It weighs the immediate burning pain of asking against the kind of vague long-term benefit of getting a yes, and the immediate fear almost always wins.
That's the ask gap in a nutshell. The expected immediate pain simply overrides the logical fact that you need to hit your target or make a living.
So if my brain genuinely thinks it's being chased by a predator, then that normal sales advice like, just be more confident or push through the fear, that seems almost kind of funny.
It's useless.
Like you cannot out-willpower a survival instinct.
No, you really can't.
It's like trying to turn off a blaring smoke alarm by just yelling at it to be quiet.
I love that, yeah.
The alarm doesn't care. It's wired to detect fire. So how are people supposed to get past that baseline biology?
Well, they don't do it through sheer willpower, that's for sure.
Mm.
Telling a body that thinks it's in mortal danger to just be confident is terrible advice.
It just makes you feel worse when it doesn't work.
Exactly. The problem for most people struggling with this is threefold. You have a nervous system reacting to a physical threat.
Yeah.
You have this ask gap where we naturally avoid discomfort.
Right.
And most importantly, you have the total absence of a practiced process. You need a system that addresses the body first.
Which brings us to something that really caught my eye in the sources.
What was that?
How much our baseline physical state shapes these sales outcomes before we even pick up the phone.
Oh, yes. The physical prep.
It's fascinating that mild sleep loss actually increases your brain's threat radar.
It really does.
So if you had a rough night, your brain is already humming on high alert, meaning you are way more likely to look at a totally neutral face on a client and think they hate you.
It creates this self-fulfilling loop of panic.
Yeah.
And think about the classic office response to being tired before a big meeting.
Coffee, tons of coffee.
We pour a massive cup of coffee.
But chugging caffeine right before a call artificially triggers the exact physical symptoms of anxiety.
Oh, wow.
Your heart rate goes up, your chest feels tight, your hands might shake a little.
And your brain gets confused. Exactly. Your brain feels those physical sensations and works backward, thinking, my heart is racing. I must be terrified of this client.
It confuses a reaction to the coffee for a reaction to the pitch.
It's tricking itself into fear.
So how do we actually reset that baseline? Because, look, we all face target pressure, we deal with manager expectations, and we definitely can't always get 8 perfect hours of sleep.
It requires a tactical, very simple reset.
Like what?
Something as simple as taking a 5-minute walk before a call, or sitting quietly and taking a few slow, deep breaths.
Just to calm the body down.
Right. It actively lowers your baseline stress hormones. It drops your heart rate. This isn't fluffy wellness advice. It's a mechanical reset for your body.
It gives you a calmer starting point.
So that when the stress of the ask does hit, it doesn't push you over the edge into a full freeze.
Which really shatters this lingering myth of the natural-born closer, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
We have this cultural image of the slick, fearless sales guy who never breaks a sweat, who feels zero anxiety.
If we look closely at the reality of the industry, those naturals don't really exist.
They're a myth.
They are. Interviews with highly experienced top sellers consistently show that the nervous feeling never fully goes away.
Really? Even for the top earners?
Even for them.
Yeah.
The threat response is just human. If we connect this to the bigger picture, what changes for the top performers is they've learned to act calmly despite the feeling.
They just handle it better.
Right. They don't rely on being fearless. They rely on a defined, repeatable process. They trust their system to carry them through the physical discomfort. And they know from experience that pushing harder or getting aggressive out of panic actually just makes the client defensive.
Okay, so fixing your physical baseline creates a calm foundation, but it leaves us with a very practical problem.
What's that?
What do you actually do when the exact moment of the ask arrives? Because we need a system to train the brain.
Yes, we do.
The first step outlined in the sources is the practice close. And this isn't just about reviewing your notes, is it?
No, this is deeply physical. The practice close is the habit of saying your final closing line out loud by yourself at least 3 times before you ever connect with the client.
Wait, not just whispering it in your head. You physically speak the words into the room.
Out loud at full volume.
Okay, why?
The mechanics here are crucial. This is not about memorizing a script so you sound like a robot.
Right.
It's about training your nervous system to handle the physical sound of your own voice asking for the commitment.
Oh, I see.
When you only practice in your head, the first time your brain actually hears your voice ask for the money is live on the call.
And it sounds like a sudden alarm bell.
Exactly. It terrifies the brain.
You are giving your brain a dress rehearsal so it doesn't panic on opening night.
Precisely.
If your ears have already heard you say, "Does it make sense to get this started?" 3 times that morning, the 4th time feels completely normal.
It moves the phrase from dangerous unknown to safe ground.
That makes total sense.
From there, the system focuses on separating the info from the invite.
Right, which addresses that over-explaining thing we talked about earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to consciously build a wall between explaining your product and asking for the decision.
Because explaining feels safe.
It feels very safe.
Yeah.
Beginners just stay in explaining mode forever because it feels like providing value.
Mm-hmm.
But explaining doesn't create a decision point for the client. A clear invite does.
You have to stop listing features.
Yes. You stop and clearly ask, based on what we've covered, would you like to move forward?
But separating the invite from the pitch creates a new, totally awful problem.
The void.
The terrifying void right after you ask.
Right.
Which leads to this concept of the 2-minute silence rule.
Yes.
I have to push back on this a little.
Go for it.
Because if I ask someone to sign a contract or hand over their budget, and then I just sit there staring at them in total silence,
Yeah.
aren't they going to feel incredibly pressured? That sounds agonizing for everyone.
It does sound agonizing. And in practice, the name is a bit misleading because it's not actually 2 minutes.
Thank goodness.
The rule is about active silence. The key is to let at least 2 full seconds of silence sit in the room after you deliver your clear ask.
Just 2 seconds.
Just 2 seconds.
Oh, wow.
But when your heart is pounding in your ears and your brain is convinced a tiger is in the room, 2 seconds feels like 2 grueling minutes.
It feels like an eternity.
It really does. The reason this active silence is so crucial is that beginners often ask the question. They panic at the sudden quiet and jump right back in to fill the space.
Oh, I've done that.
We all have. You say, would you like to move forward?
Yeah.
Because we also offer this other feature, or we could look at a different timeline.
You start negotiating against yourself before they've even opened their mouth.
Precisely. When you jump in to rescue them from the silence, you are frequently talking the prospect out of a yes that they were already quietly forming in their head.
That is so true.
The silence is not a pressure trick to make them sweat. It is simply giving them the needed mental space to form their answer.
It's literally just the sound of them processing.
Yeah.
We're so conditioned to think that silence means we're losing the room, but they literally just need a moment to think.
Think about the last time you asked for a raise or pitched a new idea to your boss.
Yeah.
Did you actually ask a clear question and give them room to think? Or did you just frantically list your wins and wait for them to magically offer you what you wanted?
Honestly, the second one. I just rambled until they spoke. It's a profound shift in how we view silence.
It really is.
Yeah.
And another way to lower the biological stakes at that final moment is by tracking micro-commitments along the way.
Stacking small yeses throughout the chat.
Exactly.
So instead of waiting for one giant, terrifying moment of truth at the end, you are checking in.
Right. You ask small questions.
Like, do we agree this is the main issue for your team right now?
Yes.
Does this plan seem like it would help?
Yes.
Are we on the same page about getting started?
Yes. When you build those small yeses, that final ask doesn't feel like you are demanding they jump across a cliff.
Yeah.
It feels like the natural, obvious, low-stress next step on a path you're already walking together.
The real-world stories in the sources really bring this to life.
They do. Which one stood out to you?
Well, take Sarah's situation. She's 24, working in software sales, dealing with real target pressure.
A tough spot.
Very tough. She had 11 calls in a row, and in polite, awful silence, she knew the product perfectly.
But she couldn't close.
Right. She described how right at the moment of the close, her stomach would drop, her voice would speed up to this frantic pace, and she would rely on this vague escape hatch.
What did she say?
She'd say, "So just let me know what you think when you have a minute," and then she would just end the call.
Oh, no. Which meant the client would totally ghost her.
Exactly, because she never actually asked them for a decision. It's the perfect example of fear dressed up as politeness.
It really is.
But the turning point for Sarah wasn't some aggressive hype seminar. She and her manager just listened to her call recordings.
She hurt herself.
She actually heard her own voice speeding up. She heard the panic. She saw her own biological freeze happening in real time.
Awareness is half the battle, honestly.
right.
Once she saw the biology of what was happening, she put the system in place.
She started doing the out loud practice in her home office.
Right.
She practiced the exact rhythm of a calm, clear close. And crucially, she used that 2-second active silence rule.
How did it go?
On her 17th ask, she delivered the question, clamped her mouth shut, and waited.
The dreaded 2 seconds.
Yep. The client paused and then simply said, yes, let's do it.
Oh.
And what I find so fascinating about Sarah's big win is how she described the feeling afterward.
How did she describe it?
She didn't say it felt like some huge fist-pumping triumph. She said it felt oddly calm.
Because she had practiced what calm was supposed to feel like. She trained her body to handle the moment. And then we have Michael's story, which shows a slightly different but super common roadblock.
Oh, Michael, right. He was 31, switching careers into sales for the first time. Yeah. And his freeze wasn't just physical panic. It was deeply tied to his ego and identity.
The identity crisis of sales. He was terrified of sounding like the pushy, sleazy sales guy.
Exactly. He didn't want to be seen that way, so his defense tactic was to avoid asking altogether.
Right.
For a whole month, he would just present the info, provide great value, and secretly hope the clients would just volunteer to buy.
Which, as anyone who has been in this field knows, nobody ever does.
Never. People rarely close themselves.
They really don't. But Michael's big shift came when he changed his inner story around what asking actually means.
How so?
A peer helped him see he needed to stop viewing the close as this grand, tricky performance.
Like it's a trap or something.
Right. And start viewing it as just a single, honest question between two adults. He stripped away all the sales buzzwords.
You just use plain language.
The most plain, clear language possible. He'd say, based on everything we've talked about today, would you like to move forward? That was it.
Just offering a path. And on his 9th try, using that exact, simple phrase, he closed a deal.
Just like that.
It's amazing how much pressure we put on ourselves to sound a certain way, to use the perfect phrasing, when clarity and honesty are just so much more calming for both sides.
Clarity removes the threat.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
But look, even with the best system in the world, even if you are perfectly calm, well-practiced, and totally honest, a no is still going to happen.
Oh, absolutely.
You will face rejection. Clients lose budget, priorities shift. So how do we prevent a totally normal rejection from instantly resetting our nervous system back to square one?
Right, where you're terrified to pick up the phone again.
Exactly.
This is where detaching from the outcome becomes essential. We have to train ourselves to treat rejection as just data, rather than a personal failure or a survival threat.
How do we do that?
First, we need to normalize the reality of the pipeline with some actual numbers. The data shows that the average new person in sales makes their first real sale somewhere between their 18th and 34th try.
Wait, anywhere from 18 to 34 attempts?
Yes.
That context alone should make anyone starting out feel a massive wave of relief.
Right.
If you get a no on attempt 5 or attempt 12, you aren't failing at the job, you are just on schedule.
Exactly. Staying with it requires that bigger picture.
Mm.
Also, studies on human interaction show this fascinating blind spot we all share.
What blind spot?
It's called guessing too low.
Yeah.
Basically, people drastically guess too low on how often others will actually say yes when asked directly and clearly.
Oh, interesting.
Our ancient wiring convinces us the odds of a no are much, much higher than they actually are.
So we assume everyone is going to say no, and we brace for impact.
Right.
To help let go emotionally when a no or maybe later does happen, the sources talk about this practice called the objection journal.
Yes, the journal is huge.
The idea is that you literally write down the specific pushback your client brings up. But the physical act of writing it down isn't just about keeping notes, it's about retraining your brain.
It changes how you see it.
By logging it on paper, you force your brain to view these objections as objective data points, rather than as physical dangers to run away from.
It creates distance between you and the rejection. And that practice pairs perfectly with what they call the 2-minute debrief.
Tell me about that.
It's the habit of taking just 2 minutes right after every single call, whether you won the deal or lost it, and writing down exactly what you would keep the same next time and what specific thing you would change.
Just 2 minutes. It's such a small chunk of time, but the impact on your awareness is massive.
Truly.
There is a great example of this with a guy named David. He was working in field sales, struggling to be consistent, and he started using this 2-minute debrief habit.
What did he find?
Within 12 days, he noticed a hidden pattern in his own actions that he was completely blind to before.
Oh, wow.
He realized he was asking for the sale, doing the hard part, but he was backing off at the very first sign of hesitation from the client.
Flaying the scene.
Exactly. The moment they paused to think or raised a minor concern, he immediately pulled back and tried to end the call.
Because his threatened body was viewing that normal hesitation as a final, total rejection.
Right.
He was running away.
But once he saw that pattern written down in his own notes, staring back at him, he was able to make one incredibly simple change.
What did he do?
He committed to staying present in the awkwardness for just one more round of questions after the first hesitation.
Just one more round.
Yeah. He didn't get aggressive. He didn't argue with them. He just stayed in the chat to explore their concern. 4 days after making that mental shift, he closed a deal.
Because a hesitation isn't a hard no. It's usually just a request for more detail.
Exactly. It all comes down to letting go of the outcome, doesn't it?
He really does.
Reminding yourself before you even dial the phone that your personal worth is not being decided by this one conversation.
Right. It's just a conversation.
And combining that inner shift with team support, like actually talking about the wins, the losses, the ghosting with a friend, takes the secrecy and the shame right out of it.
It brings it all out into the light. And if we connect all these pieces to the bigger picture, what we're really talking about is a total shift in how you view your role in the room.
How so?
You move from the anxious mindset of thinking, I am asking this person for something they don't want to give me.
Which feels awful.
Exactly. You move from that to the calm mindset of thinking, I am offering this person a clear choice.
Oh, I like that.
When you view yourself as just a helper, offering a point of clarity, it completely removes the emotional weight from the moment. A no isn't a failure. It isn't a tiger in the bushes. It's just a data point. It's clarity.
It is clarity. Wow. You know, for you listening right now, whether your role involves hitting massive sales targets, running client pitches, or even just trying to get a toddler to agree to eat their veggies,
It's all the same thing.
you are dealing with the exact same biology of asking. We all are. Building a calm practice system to override that ancient panic reflex is quite literally a superpower.
It changes everything.
It lets you step out of your own way, quiet the noise, and actually connect with the person right in front of you.
It really is a superpower. And one that absolutely anyone can build with practice. And, I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder as you go about your day.
Let's hear it.
If our brains are so easily tricked into treating a simple, harmless no in a conversation like literal life or death physical threat,
Yeah.
what other important conversations or chances in your life are you currently over-explaining or avoiding altogether simply because your ancient human wiring is trying to keep you safe?
Man, someone to really think about. Until next time, stay curious.